go
on.
live.
Hooray, everybody!
Yippee! I'm gonna switch to my laptop now that I have all my stuff set up. Give me one.
Welcome to the stream.
Oh, somebody split. Oh, there they are.
I said out loud that I was switching over to my laptop.
Ah.
You did, in fact, say
Hey,
that.
starting right off at the top of the stream, I just want to give a big shout out to all of our fans out there in Uzbekistan. Shout out to the big Uzbeks. #1 export in the country is cotton. Shout out to notable Uzbek Melina Vantrub, aka Lily from AT&T, aka Squirrel Girl. We see you out there. Big love to Uzbekistan.
As a Squirrel Girl main in Marvel Rivals, I now also feel seen.
Well, then you have a lot to thank Uzbekistan for.
Thanks, Uzbekistan, for making a character that I don't have to aim with because I could just click and just lob bombs across the map. And
No. They didn't make the character. They just have a person there that plays the character.
Well, yeah, but she wouldn't exist without. It's like the perfect voice for her. You know what I mean? It's 100% them that I get to play this character.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Also, I'm sure at some point I'm going to be able to get into Fantasy Grounds. It's acquiring the file list, but it's real slow.
Yeah, I just got in, so I wish the best for you.
Also, please, Shar, could you check the... Yeah, there you go. See it. I don't want to say that on stream, but I feel like you'd appreciate it.
I do. Oh, I hit the wrong react. I needed that one. There we go.
I thought you'd like me.
I've turned my house into a television studio for you. Just know that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It is appreciated.
All I need is a bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
4?
Because it's a very high-stress job.
Oh.
Hey, anybody out there who's dealing with like a little bit of a stomach ache, something to drink right before you go to work. It's called magnesium citrate. Just down an entire bottle of that, especially if you have to take public transportation for work.
Ooh,
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Does it make
Luke's
you...
not qualified. He's not qualified to give medical advice.
Hey, what I miss? I walk away for 1 second, and you're trying to give unqualified medical advice? Jesus Christ.
Just save money. Save money. Perform your own bris at home.
I mean, yeah, that's just sensible.
No, I was saying that if you are having a little bit of your tumbly is giving you the rumblies, just make sure to drink an entire bottle of magnesium citrate before you go to work.
Before you go to work?
What does that do? For the
It'll
people who know what it does.
It'll make you shit out that crayon you swallowed in the 5th grade.
Oh my god!
It'll make you shit out the sins of your ancestors.
I have an entire holiday for that. I throw bread. It's fine.
Oh, you're gonna need some fucking bread after it gets done with you. Tighten things back up.
Oh my god!
I remember taking that as a kid. Oh my god, that was awful.
I went down a rabbit hole of people who just accidentally drink an entire bottle of it and then just film themselves with full audio while experiencing the consequences.
Oh my god. No, I did that once with mall Chinese food. I ate mall Chinese food and I was in the bathroom and I took a video of myself crying in the bathroom saying to never eat mall Chinese food again, and I never have.
well, I guess that's an effective way to make sure you never do it again.
Yeah, you can never forget.
If you at any point had a moment where you like, was it not that bad? Look at the video. It was that bad.
Yeah, no, it was that bad.
It's like when you get out of a bad relationship and you film like a message to yourself 5 years in the future, reminding you not to get back with them.
Yeah.
It's you in the bathroom just, what you remember how they treated you. Remember how we feel right now.
Literally. It literally is basically that.
But in other news, hi everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Star Wars Manifest.
Hello.
If we could, would one of our lovely players who are so inclined give us a breakdown of last session's events and sort of cue us off into what we're going to be doing this time around?
That sounds like a job for Kayla, the one who takes the notes.
Resident note taker.
Yeah, but
Very
also
well.
she writes the notes down in the chat, and I'm not just going to be like, "Oh, as the only one who can read, do you want to fucking do it?"
Yeah, I
Dance.
can't read.
Here are your coins, peasant. Now dance for them. No, if you would be so inclined, I would of course be grateful, but at the same time, yeah, anyone can do it, including me. But I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you have to like narrate the rest of this. You're exempt from needing to read the.
Yeah, it's like you know the shit that I'm reading, all the shit that happened in the notes you're about to read.
Okay, so last time, we were fighting the Lurcher and Pulsar and their minions. Lurcher attempted to flee after being confronted by like multiple lightsaber wielding people on the field. And Shar couldn't let that happen. As mentioned, his lightsaber has been seen now, so he can't let this guy live and tell other people. So he and Cole decide to team up in an attempt to pull Lurcher out of the sky and successfully thwart his escape. And then call for Kanor to take the shot. Manages to do so, and having to abandon his cover, which he was very much clinging to that cover for a while, but he gave it up for this. Worth it. And then Lurcher, trying not to engage the space wizards, goes after Kanor instead, once he's grounded, slamming into him, pinning him, and concussing him. But Kanor gets saved at some point. Don't worry about it, he's fine. And Mira, who witnessed this, not like a full 5 feet away, takes a point blank shot at the guy, catching his arm. Which is funny because I believe a bit later he gets hit in the other arm by somebody else. Meanwhile, Pulsar is getting real tired of all this and calls his boys to intervene. Takes a shot at Mira. She manages to dodge, and Dorian, ignoring his injuries stupidly, tries to attack Lurcher in the hopes of saving Kanor. And takes like a knife to the neck, I believe. Yeah. This is not his best moment, but he also survived it. Meanwhile, Pitter sneaks up the side of the cliff to go and attack Pulsar as he is distracted. That kind of works out in that they get him over the side of the cliff, with the downside of being taken with him. And upon reaching the ground, he then tries to launch Pitter like a railgun at Cole. And well, that doesn't work out for him, luckily, for Pitter. And then Cole, deciding to ignore that whole situation, focuses on the fact that he just saw his new friend get stabbed in the neck and goes to help in that situation. Then Shar comes over to help Pitter with Pulsar. You know, he brought the lightsaber out, might as well use it. He also cuts Pulsar's arm, so now both Pulsar and Lurcher have an injured arm. You know, thematically in Star Wars, we probably should have taken off the arms, but it's fine.
Oh, this is just a taste.
Yeah.
I'm
That can
coming
always
for
happen
listen,
later.
I'm coming for your fucking arms.
And then Pitter can build everyone who they choose to a new, better arm. Maybe multiple, since
Build
you guys
everyone
are
who I choose to.
everybody's woefully deficient in number of arms anyway, so like maybe Pitter will make them multiple to make up for it. Um yeah, so in retaliation, Pulsar shoves Shar away with his powers. Um And then back to Mirror, who is like awakening her powers as everything begins to like slow down and she realizes she's got a kind of like advanced precog ability called Shatter Sight, and which allows her currently to kind of choose to a degree what will happen.
Which
That's still being
is
worked out.
which after some advisement is going to be revised.
Yeah. Still workshopping that one. So if you saw that explanation last time, maybe you didn't. Who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe you didn't.
Yeah. Let's see. A mook tries to shoot Cole. Ends up getting disarmed and decides, this is not the fight for him after that. And Cole lets him get away. Kanor's finally able to get up and fires at
Which one did Colette get away? Oh, just
A
one of
mook?
the mooks, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, one of the mooks. So Kanor finally is able to get up and he shoots Pulsar in his shoulder. So I think that might have been I'm not sure if that was the same arm or the opposite arm that he was previously injured in. I'm gonna say the opposite one because I think that's funnier. And Mira gets a chance to use her foresight ability. Once again injuring Pulsar because like he deserves it. And he gets his eye shot out, which means that this is the second force-powered person in roughly as many days to take out somebody's eyes. So there's that. Then Char launches himself at Pulsar while he's distracted by his new injury. And then gets cut into pieces. So, there's probably a loss of an arm somewhere in that factored in. With the fight done, we then scoured the area to get all such things that our fancy, while also making plans to go visit Doc Smiley, as we do have somebody that has been recently stabbed in the throat. And Pitter took everything useful they could get their little hands on. And Cole found a strange SUV-like vehicle with modular storage for hover bikes. So that's cool. Definitely an upgrade.
Hell yeah. Very much indeed. But yeah, so what are you guys thinking about? We have what do you call it? That's sort of where you find yourselves. You discussed briefly last time. You now have sort of the information of have an inkling of who Bright Eyes may be, the leader of this gang, who may or
Yes,
may
that's
not be, in fact, be the deputy currently sheriff of the town. And you believe you may have been set up. What are you doing about it? What do you? I think the brief armistice that was discussed last time is that you sort of have each other in a mutual state of mutual assured destruction.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I was thinking that we should pay the governor's mansion a visit to figure out what this false spark business is. Before we head back to town, we should let him think that they got the better of us, at least for the moment.
Well, we also have to sneak into town to go to Doc Smiley because Dorian is, bleeding from a neck wound.
That's true. He's severely injured. Yeah, we should stop at the doc's place first.
It's okay. I know how to get in, even if it's locked.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Also, refresh my memory, you didn't kill the Lurcher, correct? You killed the Pulsar, but Lurcher is still here.
Oh, that's right. We captured him.
Yeah, he's unconscious.
So he's just
Lurcher or
laying on-
Pulsar? Which one did we capture?
You captured
Lurcher has been captured. Pulsar was cut to pieces.
Who did that again?
Shar cut Pulsar to pieces. Cole knocked Lurcher unconscious.
You hit him in the side of the head with a metal staff.
Yeah.
I did do that.
So it's worth remembering that he's not going to be unconscious forever.
Right.
And then
Maybe we should deal with that sooner rather than later then. Maybe interrogate him first.
Well, we can interrogate him on the way. It takes us a while to get back to town.
So here
True.
are the problems that you have to deal with, and then you can decide what, like the ones that in your immediate vicinity, not so much like the existential creeping like sense of your own mortality. That's more of a later problem.
Sure.
Immediate problems. Whoever set the ambush for you here most likely does think you're dead, but they also probably think that their guys are going to call them back at some point to confirm that fact. You've also got your guy Dorian here, who is injured, although he's not actively. It's not like he's dying. He's just in a bad way. He's not in condition for another fight.
He has a consequence.
He has a consequence, and he's not in condition for another fight, but he's stable.
Right.
You've got the Lurcher, who isn't tied up or anything at the moment. He's just laying on the ground, unconscious. And I believe that's the sum of your problems as they stand right now, as far as the ticking time that is affecting you.
Well, restraining the lurcher seems to be priority number one.
Yeah, is there anything around that we can restrain him with?
Not really in the area. I mean, if Hitter wanted to, I'm pretty sure you can. I'll let you roll like a 0 on craft, and you could probably actually pretty much with your passive bonus. I'll say you can probably just have a pair of handcuffs.
We do have a pair of handcuffs because
Dorian was in a
holy
pair of
shit.
handcuffs.
Dorian was
Holy
previously
shit.
handcuffed.
Kayla,
That is so true.
the fucking polls from previous sessions. God,
Fuck. Oh my god, that's perfect.
Yeah, and we didn't
Yes.
cut them off or anything. We just
you literally
No,
have,
we have handcuffs. Yeah.
you have a set of cuffs that you can clip around this guy's hand as the energy beam shocks between them and magnetizes his wrists 6 inches apart from each other.
cool. I think we should also chain him to the actual vehicle because he has powers that can make him leap into the air.
Good plan.
Okay, so you're doing like one on his left wrist and the other one on the vehicle, basically?
So
No, I like
I'm
the
sure
fact
there's actual chains around here. If we full bodily chain him to the vehicle on whatever portion of it would be sturdy enough to not break it if he tried to lurch away. I think that would be good. The alternative being we restrain him in a way that makes him not want to try to get away because he would hurt himself doing it.
we'd like to restrain him in a way that he can't get off of the speeder once we're on it. Is really the gist of it.
Yeah.
I think from observing his powers and the fact that some of you have the same powers as him, so you would know the reason he was able to leap into the air like that is he was pulling himself towards the crater. He seems to only have. I mean, he's the lurcher. He only has force pull. So if you're just in the middle of a flat plane, he can't fly away because he has to pull himself towards something. He could still run, but he wouldn't be able to fly into the sky and escape. He'd be limited by the lateral traction that he can gain. But
Okay, so we'll probably
I
do
will
that.
say, but I will say to keep things moving, yeah, you can basically find like a pipe on the like a pipe or like a loose piece of metal on the speeder or whichever vehicle you're taking that you can loop the handcuffs through, so he's essentially bound to this.
Like a roof rack.
It's
Rail.
it's something that he's basically handcuffed to, so that he can't he it's not inconceivable that he would be able to get out, but it would involve him being very creative and possibly hurting himself in the process.
Cool. When he wakes up, Pitter will tell him that if he tries to break from the cuffs, the next cuffs are going through his arm to keep him safe.
Ew.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like, hey, I wanted a plan that would make him be afraid to try to escape because he would hurt himself.
Jumps back away from you and like tries to put more distance than his binds will allow. Assuming that you want to like pick up with the action of him waking up. I apologize. Is there anything anyone wants to do before he wakes up? Or do you want to try and
We
just
need to
keep
talk
him out?
about this.
I'll say you've got enough time to talk about what you're going to do before he wakes up.
Okay. What do we need to ask this guy?
As a recap, the information you gained when you mind melded with him last time is that he works for a man named Bright Eyes. Bright Eyes is the leader of the Outriders, and Bright Eyes is the one who set all of you up, but did not know there would be Jedi here, and they work for him because he somehow found a way to use the glowing box that is currently in possession of the governor to give all of them their powers. That's all the information you got from him the last time you essentially interrogated him.
Right. So what do we actually need to know from him now? Like,
I don't know. Wasn't my plan to take him captive.
well, if there's nothing else that we need to learn from him, well, you know what? What about like where the rest of the Outriders are?
Like where their base is?
Yeah, we don't know where they're at.
Do that.
Oh, we could also maybe ask, I don't know if he'd know this, if he knows how Bright Eyes is using the box to give people powers.
Ooh, I don't,
Like, how does
I
that
don't think
work?
he would know.
Okay.
I mean, he might be able to describe it to us, but I don't think he would know what he's
It would
talking
be
about.
done to him.
Yeah. I don't think he would know what it is, but he might be able to give us a description of what it looked like.
Mm.
And what are we going to do with him when we're done?
That is the question.
Well, Shar wasn't willing to let the other guy escape, knowing he had a lightsaber. Oh, and at that point, at that point, Pitter is reminded of the lightsaber and now is not focused on this conversation at all anymore and is staring at said lightsaber fixatedly.
Yes. Well, I'd like the opinion from somebody who wasn't just mindlessly trained to be a soldier.
Well, that's not me then.
Any takers? And I look around the room. I look
Wait,
at
who are
Kenor
you-
more like.
who are you referencing as mindlessly trained to be a soldier?
I give a pointed look at Mira and Shar.
Okay.
Or actually, probably not Mira, because Mira probably didn't serve in the Clone Wars. She
No, I
probably.
did.
You did? I thought you were just in the Jedi
Yeah,
Temple.
I thought she was a
I served in
youngling.
Order 66 happened, but I served in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Were you a Padawan or a youngling?
I thought you were a youngling.
You said Padawan.
Okay.
Okay, we need to have a conversation later about who your master was then, because I've been operating under a false pretense.
I think I have it written down actually.
Please
Character
DM
sheet
it
or
to me
where?
if you can, but we can carry on.
Okay.
But yeah. So
But yeah,
Uh,
I give a look to Mira and Shar of like kind of a not really like a smirk, but like a
I mean, if you're gonna call anybody for just being a mindless killer, it's probably Shar and Kazron. Like,
that's
I know
true.
he's not. I know he's not here.
He's
to
not
defend
here. I
himself,
probably
but
would give him a
also-
look as well. I'd probably give that entire half of our crew a look, and then Pitter being distracted, I would turn to Kanor as I assume the most pragmatic one here. And
That's certainly true.
what do you think that the most efficient and best for us outcome would be? Like, what do you think we should do with this?
I sit there, I throw my hands up in the air like killing him isn't efficient.
Yeah, Shar is also eerily silent, by the way. Like, this is the most upset he's been the entire time.
I say we'll leave him for the critters.
Is that not worse? You see how that's worse?
Yes, I see how that's worse. God.
Pitter is trying very hard not to reach for the lightsaber and is maybe losing that battle.
Once again, pitter patter in a completely separate quest than the rest of the party.
It is on the inside of the left side of my like jacket that I wear.
It could be in the inner left side of your thigh. It's not going to stop Pitter from getting to it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know, like, physically where on my body you saw me put it, because you would have watched me put it away knowing you'd want to get
Yeah.
it later.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Pitter was only minimally distracted after that moment of seeing you put it away by putting all of their new junk into the junker car, which Pitter then like set to its neutral hover mode and like hitched to our new ride. I needed to specify that because I wanted to bring that with us also. But yeah, Pitter is like at this point possibly almost in your lap because they're not even caring about personal space.
It's one of my favorite parts of this game is just what adventure is the party on, and then what adventure is the Pitter on. I will say, as you're having to break the tension, as you're having this conversation about what to do with the lurcher, yeah, Shar, you look down and you see just like this tiny gremlin. Somehow its eyes have gotten even wider than they already were, just looking up at you like.
Oh my
Now,
God.
you talked earlier about my pragmatism.
Mhm.
Well,
or what of which is subject to skepticism at this point.
what did this person not try to kill us?
Yes, that is they did.
And
But does that make us
are you averse to
killers
killing him?
now that we've defeated him in combat? I would say so. Yes. What is the reason for that?
Leave him for the
I mean-
critters. He could escape. He could escape. You don't know. Let fate intervene. If you're unwilling to make the master stroke, let fate decide. But we can't have him following us.
I agree. We can't have him following us. We have no reasonable organization that's responsible to leave him in the care of. There's not really any good options here as to what to do with him. So, if that is if that is the will of the group, then that's gonna have to be what happens, I guess.
It is
The force will guide him.
unfortunate.
We'll leave it up to the force.
The only other thing we can do is take him with us and turn him in at the nearest law enforcement receptacle.
Well, the nearest
Well,
the
I-
nearest law enforcement receptacle may or may not be run by his boss.
Exactly.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Which,
I-
be fair, you could use as a bargaining chip. I will also say there is a Hunters Guild hall in town that is the Bounty Hunters Guild is unaffiliated with pretty much any standing authority, and you may be able to get something for this guy if he has a puck.
Oh,
That might be a
yeah.
good idea.
That's a great
didn't
idea.
think
How do we
about
know
that.
you ain't wanted, mister?
Yeah, we got to find out if this guy's
He's
got
an
a bounty on him.
outlaw. He definitely is wanted. But yeah, he and the Pulsar probably have the largest bounties out of any of these guys.
But who's to say the bounty isn't put out on him by our dearly departed sheriff, and that he'll just end up in the custody of Bright Eyes again once we turn our backs?
That being said, I know he's not here, but I know Kanor, or not Kanor, I'm sorry, Kazron. There's too many K names. Kazron, being part of the Bounty Hunters Guild at this stage would have probably wanted that puck as well. Like he probably would have known.
Oh, yeah.
He actually has never been to the Bounty Hunters Guild in this town.
Oh, then never mind.
I've mentioned it a couple of times. He hasn't gone yet.
Wow.
I keep dangling it in front of him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we got to go there."
Proceeds to never go there. Anyway,
but the rest of the town is so, considering how the rest of the town is, I'm sure it's a well kept, polite, civil environment with delightful refreshments.
It's absolutely a saloon that has a squeaky floorboard that everybody but the newcomers about. So they walk in and step on it, the music stops and everybody turns to look at you and scowl at you.
There's a motion sensor like actually down the street that when you walk up, when you walk up the street, a little ping goes off that sort of lets everyone know, like, hey, in about 3 seconds, just make sure to look over at the door at the same time.
Right. Anyway, I think I hate to say it, but I think Kanor has come up with the most likely outcome for our benefit at this point is just to drop him off in the wilds and let the Force deal with him.
Yeah, you'd have to pick which option you dislike the least.
Being fair, he's a big guy and he's got super speed, so it's not inconceivable that he'd make it back somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, may the Force be with you, pal. Sayonara.
Yeah, I think that may be
the Force
it.
be with you as you kick them out of the back of a moving U-Haul.
I really dislike it, but
if it doesn't stop post-Empire Force users, it doesn't know it does.
Ooh, would you get a dark side point for that? Is there such a thing as dark side points in this universe?
No,
not
we
that
haven't developed any.
Not that I've mechanically decided yet.
I see.
I don't really love tying your morality to like because it means it's that sort of thing of like I can commit 3 more baby slaughters before I tip over the scale of like going into bad honor mode. It's like in Red Dead where it's like I'm doing a high honor playthrough, but I really want that hat, so I'll shoot this guy in the face, then walk around Saint Denis going, "Hey, mister," for like 20 minutes to make up for it. That's how you for our viewers at home, that's how you build honor in Red Dead 2, is you just walk around saying hi to civilians. So there's a lot of footage of people like brutally murdering like 13 people and then walking around covered in blood going, "Howdy, partner. Hey there, mister. Hi, ma'am. Hey, mister."
Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I just really don't think murdering him when he's at our disposal like this is the right thing to do.
Well, we're not murdering him, are we?
No.
We're giving him a fighting chance. He's got his
If it
wits.
Let's see what we do. Let's see what happens after we talk to him. Maybe something will change with what he has to say.
I will watch with detached amusement.
Are you waiting for him to wake up before setting back off, or are you setting off towards the town, and if he wakes up along the way, then
I think the plan was to set off immediately because we want to get back before sunrise to sneak to Doc Smiley's place. Who wants to interrogate this guy to find out where the rest of the Outriders do it if you want, but if anybody else has a better provoke or rapport.
I just need to try to steal this lightsaber real quick, and then I can be part of this conversation.
Pitter is locked in. I'll tell you. Tell you what, do you want to do a little sidebar to make some stealth and thievery rolls?
Yes, please.
Great. Shar, what skill do you think is most tied to keeping a hold of your lightsaber? Because you're going to be rolling against Pitter.
Sense force? Force sense, maybe?
I mean, I could feel the kyber crystal in it. That being said, I will say I did just kill a guy for the first time in like a couple of years, and Char is really not feeling super great about it.
That's fair. You know what? No, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Roll me just your base notice versus Pitter. Roll burglary.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I got a -4.
Oh, baby.
Great. You just fully can unless you want to do something about it, you can just fully unlatch the lightsaber from around his waist.
Again, it's not around my waist. It's in my jacket pocket.
Okay, well, either way, yeah, you can.
Pitter just like reaches it. Pitter like taps him like on the opposite shoulder, and when he's looking that way, reaches in and takes it, and then like scuttles away.
So I will tell you, the Skittermanders have been trying to crack the technology for a lightsaber adjacent thing for as long as you can remember, and you don't really love to throw around the term impossible, but it's let's call it laws of physics challenged.
He just needs to see how it works in person. It's fine. They're sure they can do this. So first they need to figure out how to turn it on, and then
I will say,
don't be looking at the hilt end when you do it.
Yeah, bad idea.
New character time. It's very hard to kill a character in Fate,
which
but
side
not
the laser
impossible.
comes out. Peter knows how to point a weapon away from themselves.
I will tell you, first thing you notice, just from like cursory examination, there are no visible screws. There are no visible screws or like pinch points, or there are seams where like it fits together, but there's no obvious way to take it apart.
Peter holds it so close to their face, looking at it, that they pretty much just smush it across the side of their face and like attempt to, as they usually do with different machines, they're gonna try to distance it.
You come to me now, on the eve of my daughter's wedding, to ask me for belly rubs.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Great. It's as you're kind of like sensing it.
Chet has no
You
idea what you're
feel
talking about.
what's up?
Chet has no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, there's a picture of a cat sitting in a leather armchair in the Discord.
Um,
He's
But
staring
yes.
at me.
Also, to describe my lightsaber hilt a little bit, because I was trying to find a website in which to design my lightsaber hilt, but I could not find a free one.
Hmm.
Damn, really?
Yeah. It's sort of like I don't actually know how to describe. It's silver, but like with gold accents.
Is it more streamlined or is it more blocky? You can describe. Does it look? So don't focus so much on what the components look like. If you want, describe like what does the vibe give of like the function of this thing?
Hmm.
Does
It's
it look like something that's
definitely
meant more as a showpiece?
no. It's definitely seen some use.
As far as like the choice in components, is it like a hand tool where it's like it's there's clearly not a focus on it being like Obi-Wan's lightsaber where it's not here to look pretty, it's here to serve a function, or is it like Anakin's lightsaber where there's clearly some degree of vanity that went into this thing?
Um, a little mixture of both. Like, there's
Okay.
definitely like it doesn't look like it was like I said, it's silver and gold, which is
Mhm.
like it's definitely like designed by somebody who thought fighting was cool at some point,
I
but it's
think
now so worn
I think it's a
from
lot of
that
those
fighting.
I think it's a lot of those like non-functional cosmetic elements have sort of worn away or like chipped off and been replaced with like a rubber grip that just sort of is like, all right, I'll when I get back to the Jedi Temple, I'll replace this. And that was 4 cycles ago.
Yeah.
I think as Pitter's holding it and you're just kind of concentrating on this thing, you can feel all of that. Like you can feel an impression of this machine that at one point it was a thing that was loved and looked at with pride. And over time, that has been sort of chipped away and it has become more and more of a blunt instrument.
The Pitter
And,
like pats it consolingly as if to comfort it.
and you can also feel something inside reaching out to you. Not in like a desperate way, but like 2 people separated by a thin pane of glass just pressing their hands to it.
Okay.
Like it knows that you are it knows that you are there and it wants to acknowledge that.
Okay. Um Considering Pitter is getting a better feel for consciously using said power,
Mhm.
as they have recently used it on a person for the first time, Pitter is going to try to use that same feeling they used before to reach out to this.
Like I said, that's mostly what you get is that impression of like you don't get the specific details, but you can feel the history of a thing that has been worn down as it has been sort of crushed under the weight of its own like a tool that has suffered by being too good at its job, like a screwdriver that has been worn away over time because it's the only one that somebody reaches for in the toolbox.
Mm. Pitter
Um,
considers that it is both like a well-loved tool, but also something that like maybe could use some replacing.
it
Um,
definitely on a more like I said, on a more hardware level, and not as an ethereal level, you can definitely tell like there are like just functional parts of this machine that could be replaced with new.
mm, mm,
You also can't tell how to open it, so that's another thing.
mm.
But you do identify the switch.
I turn it on.
Great. So
No
Mira,
hesitation.
Mira, very just like I think little triggering of sort of everyone sitting around in more or less grumbling silence before it is cut through by the eminently distinctive of an igniting lightsaber as the entire room is bathed in, or as the entire car is bathed in green light.
Ooh.
I think Shar seeing this will have like a quick flash of like genuine anger of like I've been robbed until it's like anger going to calm of like wait a minute. I have been robbed, but like by somebody I trust. They could have just asked, but like
Pitter would have, but they were very distracted at the time.
It's also like
Um,
they're not attacking you, they aren't selling it for money. It's like there ultimately cannot be a crime without a victim.
so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to force pull it back out of their hands.
Mhm.
Well, like turning it off first.
Do me a favor, just out of curiosity. Can you roll me a force pull versus a physique roll? Because I want to see if Pitter is latched on enough to be lifted into the air.
I was just gonna say Pitter doesn't let go. Pitter comes with the lightsaber.
Damn,
Oh
I'm
my
rolling real
God.
bad tonight.
Hit me with a physique roll, Pitter.
Pitter does not resist. Pitter doesn't want to let go.
Thank
No,
you.
I'm saying, wait, wait, you say you don't resist, you just let go? If you want to hold
Hold on
on,
one
roll me a
second.
physique
Sorry,
check.
hold on.
Okay.
Daniel, you could roll you could use a fate point.
I'm not gonna use a fate point on this.
You're about to interact with the main quest for the second time in this game. And it's like you want to use a
Okay, I'm
fate
back.
point to
Sorry.
take your lightsaber from your own party member. But yeah, roll me a physique check if you would like to try and hold on to this.
I would.
Okay, then roll physique.
It's not one of my good ones.
Oh, there you go.
Unfortunately, yeah, it just. I will say there's a moment of like, as it just levitates out of your hand and sort of.
I would like to use a fate point to re-roll that.
Oh my god! If you just use a +2, you'll beat him handily.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god.
Let's do it.
What's your? I'm guessing the +2 is for basically you've been given a new like it's very rare that Pitter gets to interact with a new piece of technology, and you're sort of in that feral desperation of like I'm not letting this go.
Yeah. Pitter's got
I
like
can't
these
believe you're
biggest
making me do this,
eyes.
Kayla. I'm using a fate point. I'm also
What
getting a
aspects
+2
are
to
you
this.
invoking?
What?
What aspects are you both invoking?
I'm a fucking Jedi Knight. I know how to use the Force.
I'm
Okay.
using distracted by shiny. I'm not gonna
Kayla's
let.
using the fall. Let's go.
Let's see.
Okay, so are you re-rolling or are you adding a +2?
I only need the +2 to win.
Okay, Kayla, I'm asking, are you re-rolling or adding a +2?
At this point, I would rather re-roll.
Okay,
No,
if you're.
I.
Oh no,
That's,
yeah.
you
So
already used the fate point.
no,
I'm using
you're,
this in response to your
no,
fate
you're.
point.
Yeah, sorry. Nope. You know what? Rules are rules. You are correct. So he does still beat you by 1, unless you want to add another fate point,
You would have to invoke a different aspect.
or try and use the Force against him. Mara, do you want to help out either side here?
How would she use the force against
Now,
him?
to spoil what I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to open up the lightsaber for you and show you how it works. We don't need to be blowing our fate points on this. I just want to make a cool story.
You could. I mean, you could also say that to Pitter diegetically of like, it's fine, I'll let you see it, but please give it back to me.
Yeah, that would probably help a lot.
At the
We've
moment,
already started this.
can we?
Okay.
I just Duel of the Fates, but it's being played on a fucking kazoo.
Oh my god.
It's being
Wait,
played on a
hang on.
telephone.
Okay, yeah. So like the
Zoom
moment
and
it
an
is,
automaton in my room right now. Here it is. Fucking.
Oh my god. Christ.
Daniel, take a point of inspiration. I can't breathe.
Oh my god.
See, the thing is, I also have an automaton in my room. I just don't know how to play it.
Wait, what instrument was that?
That was the kazoo.
Oh my god! Take a point of inspiration.
Thank you.
As we just hear. This pitch battle between the two of you. Do you want to use another fate point if you can use a different aspect?
no, I'm not going to use another one. And like the moment it is yanked out of Pitter's hands, they go from like the big, wide, sparkly eyes, all pupils, to like immediately like zeroed in, pinpoint pupils, teeth
Oh, they're
bared,
in predator mode.
and then they realize
There.
who has taken it from them, and then they calm down some because they did take it from you first.
If you wanted to learn how this worked, all you need do was ask.
Pitter
And I
comes
kind of
over
like float
immediately.
it in front of me and disassemble it with the force. So you see all the individual pieces sitting in front of me,
It's
but like,
as
they're floating in the air.
So
uh,
the first thing Pitter focuses on is the feeling of how you took it apart rather than the pieces being apart.
I know that there's got to be a gift for this. They do this all the time.
I'm looking.
A gift for the
Ye-
lightsaber disassembly?
Yeah.
This is the only one I can find. But yeah, so describe it. The lightsaber, basically there are screws and latches for it, but they're all on the inside and none of them are in the same place. So you literally disassemble it from the inside outward first, as Pitter is more or less looking at like how you would spread out a weapon on a board to field strip it, but suspended in the air around you. And then in the center of it, just this glowing small green crystal that is just humming with energy and like quietly pulsing.
So Pitter pays attention to all of this. First, the feeling of how it is taken apart, then all the individual pieces, and then their eyes focus in on the shiny in the middle. And they immediately reach for it.
I will say, I think when you fully break it apart, Darian was like laying down on, or like sitting on one of the benches to kind of rest. As he sees you doing this, kind of wordlessly, he does like take a knee out of respect as the spark has revealed itself.
Yeah, this thing is attuned to the force. And as somebody who is like mildly, like you're untrained, but you are attuned to the force.
This is the thing that you felt reaching out to you, and now that you're actually bathed in like the light of it, it feels like if before it was like gently pressing a hand against the glass to acknowledge you're there, this is like resting a supportive hand on your shoulder. Like you can feel that this thing is resonating with you.
Pitter is attempting to grab it.
All right, Shar, what you want to do here, bud?
I'll let her look at it.
Great. I mean, you pick it up and you holding. You can feel it's obviously humming with some kind of energy, and it is glowing, but it's not putting off any heat.
Ooh. Pitter licks it.
Oh my god.
Lick the kyber crystal. I've never actually given any thought to what would happen if you lick a kyber. Like
You really should have, because I told you in the very beginning Pitter would do this.
you know what?
Probably like touching your tongue to a 9-volt battery.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm picturing. That's how Pitter's doing this.
Spiritually.
Right. You, yeah, you feel
Well, what
just
if it
like
gives you a fourth vision?
I don't want to set the precedent for licking ancient Jedi artifacts.
Well, you gotta
Also,
roll.
this is Pitter after this interaction.
Delightful.
I was trying to find a gif of the lightsaber being disassembled, but this is what I got instead.
But yeah, Pitter, yes, you press your tongue to it, and you feel a jolt of energy, but it's not. It doesn't feel like an electrical shock, like that very familiar, like sort of blunt, like hit you get from a shock. It feels like there's like a just immediate thrum of energy that passes through. Like this thing is holding a lot of juice, but it's not putting out a current. Like it's not a battery where it's seeking out a path for a current to travel. It's just alive with energy. There also aren't terminals for it to connect to. Like it doesn't look. The lightsaber on the inside looks like a very sophisticated piece of machinery with a rock in the middle.
Pitter like tilts their head back and forth, like staring very intently at this, and before slowly looking up at Shar. And Shar, it's probably pretty creepy to have Pitter's full, like undivided attention, like full blown pupils, like straight on your face, as they look up at you and ask you how it works.
At this point, Shar's remembering being a youngling, being with his master, Kiadi-Mundi. The same thing, looking at the lightsaber and being in awe of like basically when do I get my own?
Yeah.
Like reflected into Pitter. And after I have now just killed a guy with it, the thought of like Pitter making a lightsaber without the restraint of the Jedi training.
You think about going, when you took the trip to Ilum and you felt your crystal like this same crystal resonate to you, and it felt like a piece of you that you never knew was missing finally made whole, and doing your katas for the first time, and like that beautiful spiritual connection. And you also think about the smell of burnt flesh mixing with the durasteel of a droid's casing as you slash through it and the man behind it at the same time. And you recall the idle thought that you would have thought that the smell of oil would have been stronger than the smell of burnt hair, and you're surprised at how even it is.
Yeah.
That is oddly specific.
Trauma be
And
doing that sometimes.
Mhm.
I will teach you to construct one for yourself.
Pitter is
But
like
only if you make me a promise. As I like close the lightsaber back up with the force.
Peter is fully distracted by that for a second, very disappointed. But then remembers that you said teach them to make, and you have their full attention again. They are listening.
You have to promise me that if you ever use your own lightsaber, it will only be in self-defense or in the defense of others. This is not merely a weapon. It is a tool of peacekeeping. At the very least, that's what I was taught. Peacekeeping at the end of a blade is maybe not the right teachings, but I feel like now that the order is gone, maybe it's my turn to teach the next generation how it should be. Not just in dogma, but in practicality.
I was worried there that you were just going to repeat the dogmatic teachings of your masters, but Maybe there's something to be taught to you yet. That sounds like something my master would say.
Peter
Uh,
considers this carefully.
out of curiosity, because Shar is now a while, even before the Empire, a while removed from those fresh face emotions of like that era of his life. Does Mira have any thought of like watching her friend have that moment of like looking at a kyber crystal like it's the only thing in the universe that matters? Since for her, like that's not too far in the past.
I looking at the kyber crystal because like I got it and then immediately basically went to it. When I imagine these things, the only thing I really see is death. And so like
Never-
she's looking at this kyber crystal like how I look at candy. Like how I look at like innocence, how I look at like the little things that I could have done to like be a kid.
the thing that's always just out of reach that makes you nostalgic for a life that you never knew.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, as you watch this thing, like I said, Darion is like respectfully taking a knee, and then as he gets up when the spark is like fully encased back in its housing, as he is nodding along with what you're saying about how it's not merely a weapon, it's a tool for peace, you know, Bubba, as he is nodding along, sort of confirming what you're saying, that a spark is representative of a piece of the great fire. He says tripped off and made manifest. It is a force of it represents power and control and trust that the great fire has placed in you to exercise its will upon the physical world.
Wait, does he just say that the great fire that he keeps referencing is a giant fucking kyber crystal?
That is what he says. Whatever you take away from that, he says that it is a piece of the great fire made physical.
No, I literally look at everybody
Yeah,
and say that.
I
No.
was under the assumption that the Great Fire was more of a spiritual being. Is the Great Fire an object? Like a physical object?
With a kyber crystal that size, you could, I don't know, maybe power a space station sized super weapon capable of destroying planets.
If it pleases the great fire.
Well, I would hope it
And he
does.
says he says that I attune to the resonance of derision, as he shakes his head and he says that the great fire is not an object. It is an energy. It is all around us. And he was a spark, though. And he sort of holds out his arm as you see like the crystals growing through his skin. And he says that without the great fire, and he is a spark is nothing. Merely a piece of is merely another physical thing. But but they represent that the great fire. He says that they burn within with the energy of the great fire.
I see. So yeah, it was a metaphorical thing.
So the great fire is the force, and the kyber crystal is yeah, okay.
Yeah, as
He
I
says
thought
that-
originally, yes.
He says that it represents the great fire putting its trust in you to exercise its will.
Right.
As he says that he says that to have a spark, even in its raw form, is a sacred thing. And then you see him kind of like give like a little side eye over to Kazron. And then he kind of mutters under his breath, still in that monotone, But he does kind of mutter under his breath that, and it's sort of said like low and fast, like you have to say something, but you're kind of trying to get it out as fast as possible. That if it may please the great fire, he says to the, or it's like he says to the resonance of, he says to the resonance of anger that, or it once was.
Oh. I see.
As he gives like a side eye at Kazron.
Well,
But yeah.
I guess it's is up for some of us to interpret what bringing balance to the great fire truly means.
Hitter, where are
Yeah.
you? What are you landing in the center of all this? I mean, you're hearing a lot of perspectives of people. This is not how people talk about batteries. Like, that's, I think, sort of how Pitter is still looking at the Kyber Crystal as it is a battery. This is not the way people talk about batteries. Like, it is a sacred responsibility and
Well, no,
like
Pitter's opinion of it changes once they
Mhm.
notice that it is not being like energy isn't being pulled from it like a battery.
Mhm.
Then they do view it as like an alternate like energy source. Um, and then like given like the resonance they've had with it so far and how they've been in the past able to connect with both machines and more recently people, as well as like Dorion's repeated mentionings of it,
Mhm.
um, Pitter does see this as something different than a battery, but is still not fully sure what they consider it besides something that they
Mhm.
want.
So what's her takeaway of being willing to, like, do you consent to your friend Char's terms?
Pitter has a follow-up question. So Char's lightsaber is a tool that was made with a purpose. Char's lightsaber was a tool made with the purpose to kill things for good reasons. Yes?
I would say that sounds accurate.
I don't know, Char, is that accurate? You built it.
I would say it was built for the reason solely out of tradition. A
Mm,
good purpose is more complicated than, how do I put this? The good purpose is decided by whoever's purpose it is.
Mm.
good, because Pitter has another follow-up. So Pitter can easily promise to only use it to injure if it is in self-defense or defense of others. That's fine. Pitter would also obviously use tool as a tool for like whatever other purposes Pitter can think of to use tool for. Like this can cut rock and metal and possibly lots of other things. Pitter also wants to use it for those things.
I don't see why that would be a problem.
Pitter
This is
just needs
maybe
to check because you made very specific rules.
this is maybe the first person you've spoken to who wants a lightsaber but seems completely disinterested in using it as a sword.
Cole smiles at hearing this and says this might be the most worthy recipient of a lightsaber I've ever heard.
I will say, I think you did once listen to your master wax poetic about how they did develop a lightsaber kata specifically to cut bread so that it is perfectly toasted.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, no,
not
I
too
assume that
fast, not too slow. Like, this is the exact speed you use to cut bread so that it is perfectly toasted to my liking.
I assume that I was taught by my master the opinion on lightsabers is a very similar to Obi-Wan Kenobi's opinion on blasters. Like,
you
of
are
all
taught
the
to have
things,
whatever opinion you want.
right? Like all of that's fair,
Mhm.
but like I assume my master's opinion that has been instilled in me was that constructing a lightsaber out of a kyber crystal is like just about the most brutish thing you can do with such an important piece of essentially your own soul.
I wouldn't say brutish. I would say basic. Like it's the fact that people do it and then they view a kyber crystal. Okay, you were basically taught that a lightsaber is a good way of expanding on the meditative properties of a kyber crystal, and it's a tragedy that people view the kyber crystal as a battery for a lightsaber.
Right, like
Like the lightsaber shouldn't be the end goal is to who gets a job and then the job becomes their entire personality and you're like, "Hey, didn't you get this job to like have a better life, but you can't enjoy your life because all you do is go to the job?" Like a kyber
well, it
crystal.
doesn't. The
What's that?
lightsaber doesn't necessarily hinder them
No,
in any
no, no,
way.
no. But that's more or less what happens when you have like the Jedi is the Jedi have started to view a kyber crystal as like, what's a kyber crystal for? Well, why does it have to be for something? Why does this ethereal, brilliant, magic thing need to serve a mechanical purpose to have value?
Right.
And why does that mechanical purpose need to be a sword? Sword.
Yeah, my kyber crystal is just sitting up on top of my staff here, doing seemingly nothing.
Doing seemingly at the intersection of fuck and all.
Right. However, it is much more complex than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I pity the Jedi that never were able to see past its use as a barbaric tool for violence. So the fact
You should blame the Jedi in that because the reason
I do.
why any of us would feel that way is because we were forced into a war and like
Yeah,
forced to do the things that we were supposed to do. So
Fair enough.
as much as you judge for our quick mentality to kill, this was instilled in us by somebody else out of necessity.
Okay,
yeah. I
well,
was gonna
allow
say,
me to
as
show
the
you a better
instrument of
way.
as the instrument of a lot of the violence you're decrying, I do agree that maybe the Jedi should not have turned these into swords.
I
As
don't
the
know your
Yeah.
I while I understand that like how you feel and everything else about kyber crystals and do agree with you on that. I disagree with your mentality of leaving somebody out in the defend for themselves, no defense themselves is more merciful and ethical than in leaving them to die, essentially, than just outright killing them. I feel like suffering is worse.
I agree that there's really no good end to this situation, and that's the struggle that has been placed before us.
So I feel in regard that the mercy of a quick death is more justified than the mercy of a possible far slim chance life if you leave them in that sort of position.
Well, this is a capable outrider who is used to the wilds of this planet. I
With their normal equipment that they have, when we leave them out in the middle of or anything with resources, how do you expect them to survive?
Maybe part of our questioning and our interrogation should be, okay, that's all of our questions. How would you like to be disposed of? Would you like a quick and mostly painless end, or would you like the chance to potentially run away into the wilds? Your
I love
choice.
the idea that the
seeing
penal
as my
system
main
on Skittermander planet is like you are given a checklist of, hey, please rate the number 1 through number 3 ways you would like to die, so that if number 1 can't be accommodated, we can provide number 2 or 3 for you.
seeing as how my main issue with this situation was the fact that I am loath to choose another being's fate for it, and that is where my issues are stemming from. I think that that Pitter Patter has the right move here, has the right idea.
Pitter Patter looks up at Char. See, Pitter can totally be trusted to make one of these. Pitter is good with decisions.
I think
Shar gives you like a smile of somebody who's like they really want to be happy, but again, just murdered a guy like a couple minutes ago, so isn't.
Pitter gets a feeling for your sadness. Like, they know enough about other people's expressions. Pitter pulls out one of their pieces of candy and offers it to you.
I take it and eat it.
Aw.
It is very specifically a blue candy because Pitter personally thinks purple is best. But you are blue, so maybe you think blue is best. So Pitter offers you a blue
man,
candy.
you know what? Hang on.
Oh, that's pretty cute.
what?
Just
The-
the
that-
idea that I'm purple, so therefore purple's the best color. But
Okay.
or what do you
Yes,
call it?
yes.
But you're blue, so therefore I'll give you a blue candy, insensitive to the fact that you are blue and therefore blue is probably the best. I will say he is blue and has red eyes. So
That
From
is
my
fair.
point of view, blue is the better color.
what I'm saying, if you mix your eye color and your skin color, it makes purple.
I mean, fair.
Uh,
Like,
Also, Rye D Bread, I posted a picture of Anthony Mackie going, he's out of line, but he's right, in response to Shar going, hey, you could talk all the shit you want about the Jedi being, using kyber crystals as an instrument of violence. And I was a member of the Jedi, and I was an instrument of violence. And you're right. It was really fucked up. And it's like, I just like to think of everyone looking at Cole like, he's out of line, but he's right.
I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
He's out of line.
Yeah. So
I'll say as you're having this, great. Someone roll me a notice check. Get above a 2.
okay. Pitter, I think
Notice, huh?
Yeah.
I think your wisdom is too often overlooked.
Pitter is comprised of multitudes.
Can I can I roll sense force instead?
Not as relevant to the thing that I'm about to tell you. I'll say notices, but also Kanar just blew it the fuck out of the water.
Peter is very focused on what they're doing currently and has no notice to spare.
Kanor's driving too.
Great. It's crazy that he got it then, but he's also, he's, you know what? It actually is kind of fitting that he'd be the one to notice.
He is the most experienced driving. He knows when he can pay attention and not look at the road.
I was just meant based on his experience, like in his life. But the reason I was mentioning that, hey Kanor,
Yes.
the lurcher's been awake. The lurcher's been awake for about 3 minutes. He's got his eyes closed.
Bastard.
Well,
Like
Well,
you
then
see
maybe-
him, or like
Plant
you watch him at one point as you're driving. Like
Maybe hearing some of our philosophy will change his mind.
you see him like kind of jolt a little bit and like see that nobody clocks that he's awake, and then kind of like close his eyes and lay back down.
I imagine it helps when we talk about letting him choose his own fate.
Oh no! Well, it's like I don't think leaving somebody in the middle of the wilderness to fend for themselves is very humane. It's like, okay, I might make it out of this. We should grant him the mercy of a quick death. Oh Lord, Oh Lord, I'm gonna die.
Well,
Yeah,
I think it's
Uh,
now
boys
time
and
to wake him
girls.
up anyway.
Boys and girls, if you're finished discussing life, the universe, and everything, I should let you know that our friend is awake.
Ah, I think it was time to start our conversation with him anyway. So,
Oh, the quick thing before the rest of the conversation starts, Pitter does give him the initial ultimatum of stay in the handcuffs because the next set of handcuffs will go through your arm instead of just around it. Okay.
oh my
Just-
Kind of
god.
gives like
Yes.
kind of gives like a silent nod of like the okay, I'm chill. Look.
Okay. Pitter gives him a little pat. Good. Okay.
He does his best to uh like sit up to like put himself on like more equal footing with y'all. It doesn't really work because he's kind of chained more or less to be laying down. Uh, is it? He's not saying anything, but he's like just kind of looking around at y'all, waiting for you to make the first move.
Which of us wanted to be the one to speak with him?
Which of us had questions for him?
Well, I think our main question is where the rest of the Outriders are positioned. Where on the planet are they, like, hiding out in a camp? So that we know where the danger is coming from and we could do something about it, potentially.
I mean, you're usually the best people person.
It's fair.
Actually, what's your rapport and or provoke? Because I have a 0 in both.
My rapport is a 2. My provoke is a 0. Mira also has a 0 in both. Does anybody else have a better than a 2 in either rapport or provoke?
Let's see. My rapport is a 1. My provoke is a 0.
Kanor? How about you?
My provoke is a 1, and my what was the other stat you were looking for?
Rapport.
Rapport is a 2.
Okay, so we have the same bonus as a 2 in rapport.
I should show that to my viewers.
So I guess that's as good as we're going to get for this.
Okay, so which one of you wants to ask the question?
Do you want to ask him some questions while I take over driving?
No, I think that you guys are more than capable of asking the questions.
This does feel like a space wizard affair, you know?
Okay, fair enough. All right. I'll turn to him. I also have alter force alter at a 3 in case I need to probe his mind.
Again.
You
Again.
you guys don't see it, but Kaner is like rolling his eyes so hard. Space wizards.
I like the idea that he doesn't deny that the force is real. He just thinks it's stupid.
Well, before he thought it was he thought it was just like total hooey, and then he saw it in person. He was like, "Okay, so it's real, but it's still stupid."
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I saw.
I'm not sure what I said. Oh, okay, fucking which one's the girl in X-Files? Is it Mulder or Scully?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's Mulder. I don't know. Hold on.
Why is she very skeptical of everything?
Yeah, the joke of that series is that it's a conspiracy theorist and then like a skeptic non-believer who are teaming up to fight the supernatural. But because it's a serialized show where it was meant to be viewed weekly, but when you binge watch it, it becomes apparent where it's like they'll literally get kidnapped by aliens and also Bigfoot shows up and then Bigfoot's a vampire and then they kill him and he turns into a ghost. And then the very next week, the skeptic character is like, look, I don't believe in all this supernatural mumbo jumbo. There's an explanation for everything. And it's like,
Scully.
yeah. So it's like last week you just saw all this crazy shit happen. And it's like, I don't know what I saw. So,
Well,
anyway.
Kanor is a skeptic.
But anyway, yeah. So you kind of angle down across from him.
Yeah, so I think Mira has just given me a good idea for how to deal with him, but we'll get to that when we get to
Great.
it.
I think he.
All right. So I know about the ambush. I know about your buddy Bright Eyes and what he found. What we don't know, and the one piece of information I feel like is important for the safety and security of the townsfolk, which is our prime priority at this juncture, is where the rest of the Outriders are stationed at. Where's your home base on this planet?
Uh,
We're not going to come riding out, killing
Yes.
anybody. We obviously don't have the
right.
resources for that.
Oh, right. Because so far you've been all just cuddly. You've all just been cuddly and delightful. What
I mean,
with
we
the
have until you've attacked us.
Yeah, in our defense, you did try and kill us first.
Yeah.
and,
There was
and
no,
what
there was no threat until you made one.
I mean, he agrees, but it's also why would I tell you the location of my why would I tell you the location of our base? You can just show up and ambush them all.
Well, I mean, we can't really do anything. I just want to make sure that we have that information for you to launch an attack so that we can be prepared for you. Come next time, you and your crew decide they want to slaughter innocent people some more.
And he goes,
And as an insurance policy. Because we
Oh.
have no ill will. Okay. We have no ill will towards the Outriders, and I'm sure that if you fucked off
Mhm.
forever, then nobody
Not
would
gonna.
think about you ever again.
And he goes, oh, so that's
The
where you're
Empire,
wrong.
however-
See, that's why you're wrong. He goes, we're about to start making waves in this galaxy.
Really? Oh, in the galaxy. Galactic plans, huh? I'm sure the Empire would love to hear that.
Oh yeah. And he goes, I bet they. Oh, and he goes, oh really? You're gonna turn me into the imps, are you? I'm sure once I'm in Imperial custody. I'm sure once I'm in Imperial custody, they'd love to hear some of the stuff some of the stuff I seen today. I mean, after all, he kind of shrugs and he goes, they ain't got no way to. He goes, they ain't got no way to verify that I can do anything you damn say I can. But he kind of looks over and he goes, I'd be willing to bet at least a couple of you got your faces listed in a couple places with some people you really don't want them having.
Peter
That's
kind of
rough to
tilts
word.
their head and looks at him, and it's just like, Peter's kind of sure you heard us talk about what to do with you after questions. Peter does not think that is a good way to convince us to let you go.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I
you
never
sound
said
a lot-
anything. I never said anything about delivering you to the Imperials. I explicitly stated that we might have to reveal the whereabouts of your compatriots to the Imperials because they are in
Yes.
like mind with us in this one particular instance about wanting
he shakes
the
his head and he
town.
goes, that's even more Goram cowardly than if you. He goes, at least if you were threatening us, you could say you were doing it yourself. He goes, alerting the imps to do your dirty work for you.
he goes, what kind
Well-
of threat is that?
The Imperials have insisted that they bring peace and order to this galaxy. Well, you're in opposition to that, and it's not our responsibility to save these townsfolk. We did it of our own accord and our own autonomy. But if the Empire insists on being the facilitator of peace and order in their galaxy, then I say we assist them in whatever way we can with the location of your bandit associates. Now, that shouldn't have to come to that, as long as they stay on the other side of this rock from the town.
And if I
But I
tell
want
you
their
you're gonna
location as insurance, and you're going to give it to me.
and if I do that, you'll let me live.
Well, that'll be up to you. I'd love to be able to.
Peter is on the fence about it.
And he goes,
Killing another living being in the Force is not something I take lightly.
I think that killing you saves a whole bunch of people, and I am well okay with making that trade.
Well,
he goes, you were any
So-
kind of real fighter, then at the very least, you take these handcuffs off and we can step out on that plateau.
Blah,
If
blah,
you're gonna
blah.
kill me-
Macho bravado.
we already did that.
We already did that, and that's how
Yeah.
you ended up here.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
I was outnumbered.
I'm
Bullshit.
pretty sure we were outnumbered.
You can make any kind of excuses you want. I don't really care if you were outnumbered by the entire Imperial Navy itself.
Mhm.
The point is, you're here in our handcuffs, and you're going to answer our questions, or who knows what could happen out here in the middle of
I need an equivalent for a cow in Star Wars, so instead of saying
a
bullshit, I can
bantha.
bantha shit. There
Yeah,
we
there
go.
you go.
Bantha poodoo.
So
Mhm.
I would like to see a peaceful resolution to all of this, because I don't want anybody else to get hurt. Yes, even the likes of you. I'm not the only one at stake here, and I have to do what's right by as many people as possible. So if you can cooperate with us, we can work out a peaceful resolution. And the first step to that is to tell us where the rest of your bandits are hiding. Who keeps dropping in and out?
It was me. I went to the bathroom, but I'm back now.
Great. He says,
If you read the chat, you would have seen that I was AFK.
I
mhm.
did see that.
He says, you won't be able to find them even if I did tell you. He goes, we're mobile. Don't stay in one place for too long. But, he says, at the very least, if you let me live, give me a head start to get out of here. I'll give you a heading.
I think we could agree to that.
I don't know that you're in any kind of a position to dictate terms.
Well, seeing as how you basically already made up your mind as to whether, or seeing as how it seems like the group at large has already made up their mind that they're going to kill me, I could basically say whatever I want. I still don't know for sure that you're not going to shoot me in the back the minute I do tell you.
Peter can do you the service of shooting you in the front if you prefer.
No, I'd just be satisfied of you cursing our name as in a language we can't hear as we drive away.
I can assure you that a majority of our company are honorable people.
I do not like you. I do want you dead. It doesn't mean I'm just gonna kill you out of nowhere.
Well, how magnanimous of you.
Well,
You,
we're
on the other
magnanimous
hand,
folk.
those same ethics when you tried to kill us out of nowhere. So
Hey,
you're
I was just doing my
You're
damn job.
welcome.
Hey, at least I was doing my job.
So are we.
So are we.
Yes.
Well, that wasn't specifically Pitter's job, but Pitter also
mean,
stepped in between Mira and this guy,
Mhm.
full eye contact with this guy, as a you don't raise your
Right.
voice at her.
Right, he kind of puts his hands up in the handcuffs, so I'm calm, I'm calm. You see me? You see how calm I am?
Our job was, and still is, to ensure the safety of town by way
Job from
of
who? His job from who? Sheriff
job
Haran
from
is
who?
the only guy with enough with enough a lack of common sense to pay to do some stupid shit like that is in the ground.
Pitter
Or
smiles
in a
big at him and
or
says,
or the
"The
freezer.
deputy."
What's that?
Our
The
lovely
deputy
deputy.
gave Pitter the job.
Oh. Yeah, I suppose.
Hmm.
Is there anything that you'd like to shed some light on as in regard to our employer?
I don't know.
Maybe brighten things up a bit?
Great. Great. At that, he just kind of shakes his head and looks like actually kind of worries. No, no, just because I don't want to talk about none of that. I don't know nothing about him. I don't know nothing about that town. Just he's like, I don't
And
know
we
nothing
don't
about.
want you to.
Just I'll give you a heading as to I'll give you a heading as to where to find the ship if you guarantee to let me go.
The ship?
I told you. The Outriders. Why do you think we call ourselves the Outriders? We're mobile, never stay in one place. You can't bit without a butt. The only reason that town of yours exists is because the Separatists had enough money to drop it from suborbit. Anything else, the planet's so unstable that it would blow up before you manage to get the concrete dry.
Okay.
Tell you where the last heading is, the area where we patrol. Is you do that, if I do that, take these cuffs off me, let me out of here, and I'll figure the rest out for myself.
Okay. Let me confer with my associates here.
And when it's time for me to discuss these terms again, is there anyone here I can talk to? Because he remembers, you remember when you mentioned about killing somebody or the force, he kind of rolled his eyes and he's like, anybody I can talk to is not going to go on about, or is it, and talk to about this, force mumbo jumbo. Somebody who can talk some damn sense.
Sure, you can talk to me. I personally think the Force is a bunch of hooey. But you still gonna die.
The force user who's currently chained to the car just kind of nods to you. Because he is a force user.
He is. At least now he is. I would like to pull the rest of the group aside to the front of the car and talk to them outside of.
As you kind of walk out of earshot, he looks over at you, or Kanor, just, hey, I suppose you got a death stick on you.
Sorry, I ate my last one when we stopped for fuel last time.
Kind of shaking his head. Death sticks, as we know them in real life, 305s.
Yeah. All right. I think Mira has a good idea. You want to fill them in?
So I've never personally done this, and I've only heard stories of this. But there's
I feel like I've heard stories of us being able to erase or alter memories using the Force. And what if we alter his memory to make him think that he killed us? And then burn him to the deputy, basically.
It would solve our problem of having to kill him or figuring out what to do with him and provide false information to our enemy.
Devious.
We can.
And
Oh,
if we
also
all
provides.
work together, we can make it work.
I
It's not
think
something I've ever attempted, but I'm sure I could figure it out.
given
Oh, go ahead, Peter.
given the importance of previous conversation, Peter thinks it's also very important to remove the lightsaber incidents from his memory.
That's a good point.
So we would just make it so we came up to the thing and
And he blew us up. Just
they
like
blew
they
us up.
planned on, yeah.
But if they go back to the building is still there. So why not?
Sure, then they
shut
and
us?
yeah. I have performed similar things through the Force on much more willing participants through rituals and meditation. I've never done this on a resisting creature before.
Also, the amount of memory we'd be altering at this point.
Quite a bit.
So what if you change just smaller specific parts? Like he still remembers the fight and he still remembers Pulsar dying because that's like a big thing. But like maybe he remembers Pulsar being cut up by like a normal metal sword or something.
A vibroblade.
Yeah, one of those things.
I mean, as long as you don't find his corpse, you don't have to specify how he died.
Yeah, but just like I felt like putting just like a shield kind of over like putting a sticker over that would be easier than like completely redoing or erasing said memory. It would make it less taxing to alter.
We would need to erase this whole part here with us and talking with him now. Either way, if we're doing this, he can't know that we're change it to make it look like we died.
Yeah. So
but in addition to that, the lightsabers gotta go from the memory too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so in order of biggest to smallest things to delete, we delete the entire conversation in the car, and then we delete us surviving, and then we delete the lightsabers, and he remembers everything else.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that works.
I think that works too. Oh, and then we would need to. Okay, yeah. If he thinks that we died, that's what he's going to go and say.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, as long as you're implanting memories, why don't you make him think he owes us $20?
Because he thinks we're dead, so he just thinks he got away with it. And we can put him in the old truck when he's going into town. So, like, when he comes back to his senses, he thinks he drove it there. Because, like, it's his boss's car anyway.
Yeah.
That is true.
Glad I brought it with us. Very useful.
Do we still have it in tow? We're driving one of their cars, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Peter hooked it up before we left.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's the plan.
So you're going to snip out some of his memories and then completely try and put in new ones.
Yeah, Jedi mind wiping.
Okay.
When I looked it up, it's called memory rub.
I don't like that.
I think mind wipe sounds cooler.
I know. I'm
I
just
don't-
letting you know, like, if
I
you
don't
want to
love
look
the.
up
Oh no, that
precedent
is.
for this thing, like, I did make
Oh,
sure
I
that
knew it.
precedent.
I'm
No,
pretty
no,
sure
I-
it's what the Kylo Ren does.
It's
I
definitely
knew-
not. These aren't the Jedi you're looking for. It's way bigger than that.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I know immediately this is a thing. This is a very advanced Force technique.
Yes, I did read that.
I'm going to request 2 rolls. One roll I'm going to request as wiping his memories. The second one is going to be creating and implanting the new ones.
Okay.
That way, if
and
you fuck up one, you might still leave him as like there's a bunch of holes in his memory, but he's not going to be able to rat you out.
so who is going? Who do you need to roll these? And what is the difficulty
Pick-
of these? And what is the stat that we need to use to do this? Alter Force, I assume.
Yes.
What's my alter force?
And I think
4.
Okay.
I think this goes beyond. I'm not going to do this as an opposed will check because I think this is stronger than just like his will resisting you.
Right.
I'm going to set this as a DC. For the first roll. For the first roll of this,
The
to
wipe.
wipe certain, because you're trying to surgically remove specific elements of his memory because you don't want to leave him as a vegetable, presumably.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask for a DC 5.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm gonna ask for a 5 to
Is there-
target these specific elements of his memory.
Is there any way of us assisting each other in this?
I can.
Let me see. I had a thing for this.
Normally, what I've been doing, because I've been running a lot of Fate recently, or not a lot, but I've ran Fate recently and had to run into like helping on a DC. It really doesn't make sense for 2 people to roll the same in the DC. What I usually do is that one person is the active roller, kind of like in regular D&D, and then if anybody wants to assist, they can just spend fate points for the other person's roll as if the other person was spending the.
I like that.
Invoke their own. So like, if Mira is going to be making this roll, they would roll their force alter, and then if they beef it, I could roll. I could spend a fate point and invoke my high concept that I am a force acolyte nomad to then allow them the +2 or reroll with my aspect and my fate point.
I enjoy this. I think I like that. I do want to add, because it's going to become, I feel like it's relevant, the new way that Mira's powers are going to work, because I've rethought them.
Okay.
I really like your suggestion of just getting out of my own head and not being such a pretentious ass about it, and just making it straight up fate portent.
Okay.
I was just trying to decide as to one, when the ability to do that renews. Is it once a scene or once a long rest, essentially? And then 2, do I want to give you all 4 dice, or like say no, pick
2? It's a good question.
I don't know if I love the
and then-
idea of you straight up getting like no, because the odds of being able to like fuck it. I'll say yeah. You just roll basically the roll of fate dice, like roll 4 dice. I was trying to think like yeah, I don't want to be, but the odds of getting all 4 minuses or all 4 pluses are astronomical. So of course that's what you're gonna roll.
They're like
So,
1%.
So
It's
of
like
course that's what's gonna happen.
1.2%.
So yes, basically make a roll of fate dice, and then for the scene, you can use those like portent, and you know how portent works.
I don't know how portent works.
You replace it with anything.
You can just take that dice and go, that dice is now added onto this. So let's say that last roll that was made for you, a 0. let's say you had a minus or a +1, you could say, no, I'm adding this dice that, so it's a +1.
Wait, so you roll the 4 fate dice, and then you could use each die individually to add or subtract to a roll?
I kind of like the idea of making it a bit more like it's not just a like straight up one and done thing versus like it's a
Okay.
Oh no, I guess. Sorry, I'm like umming and ahhing about this. I forgot to deeply think about it more from the previous session. You know what? I'll say this because that way it'll make this for now until I decide to change it again. Once a scene, roll a fate roll. You can replace any one roll with that. If you use a fate point, I'll let you do it again. Because it's how everyone else's refresh works is you get it once for free and then you can do it again with a fate point.
Okay. And it replaced, so if you roll this portent roll, you can replace.
Oh no,
Anyone
never mind.
on my
I was saying I like the idea of having all 4 dice individual because I don't want the ability for you to completely supersede any one roll.
I see.
Yeah, so it's all 4 dice and you can apply them as needed.
To
But that way
just me or to anybody?
anyone. This is
Okay.
this is representative of you kind of gazing into the future and being able to go, no, actually it happened like this.
Okay. That's pretty good. And it's strong. But there is the
It's strong.
possibility of you rolling like 4, like any dice you roll that are the 1 out of 3 chance on each die to not get a bonus from it, which is fair.
Yeah. And it also, like I said, I remember the reason I don't want to do any one thing is because I don't want the possibility of me going, oh, he does the attack. No, he doesn't. Oh, fuck me then.
Right, just being able to negate.
I think it's more interesting if Mira can just kind of lightly nudge everything.
Right.
And if you spend a fate point, I'll give you a new rack of 4 dice.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you can't
roll
shove anything, but you can nudge everything.
Okay. So this is your roll.
This is just 10.
You got 2 pluses.
I got 2 pluses. Cool. Awesome. So now I want to roll Force Alter to erase this dude's memory.
And then you have a DC of 5.
Great. You sort of hold your hand up to him as you can feel the connection made with his mind. As he's kind of like starts shaking his head like he's got like when you've got like a whining in your ear and he's like, what are you doing? Hey, knock it off.
Ugh.
What'd I get?
A 2.
A 2. Okay. So I'm going to.
Have we refreshed since the last combat or anything? Because like.
Yes, you've refreshed your fate points.
Okay, you need to like go into the combat tracker and click short rest or something.
Let me do that now.
We still have damage on us.
Where's the short? Well, no, it doesn't. Yeah, so where's the short rest button on here?
I think you click long rest. Combat tracker. You go to where it says like menu or something, and then
menu is initiative, delete from tracker, and close window.
Is there no rest option?
No, that was my confusion.
Why would you don't need to rest at fate?
Yeah, that's why it's like the fate thing is weird. Just remove refresh your stress boxes, refresh your fate points, and then I'll say it's been long enough that you can remove a minor consequence.
Okay. Now, what was your question you were trying to ask me?
Hello?
I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm wanting to do.
You can't hear anything because nobody's talking.
If we're doing it in the way where anyone aiding you can spend fate points to help, seeing as making him forget about the lightsaber is my responsibility and problem, I'm willing to spend a fate point to help.
Well, hold up, because I want to try to see if I can reroll. So I want to.
Well, what he's saying is that if he wants to give up his fate point and invoke his aspect for you to reroll this.
Well, I know, but I feel like it's less expensive for right now for me to use the fate point to reroll it, rather than because I would need to have that in order to get that up. Versus if I do this now, it's way more actually likely. Like I two.
Well, him spending his fate point does exactly the same thing as you spending fate point, is what I'm saying. Like mechanically. He could spend a fate point to have you reroll. He's just saying he wants to help.
Or are we only I thought if it was you guys helping that I only bonus.
No, you could do it as if you spent the fate point.
Like as if like you got me like a 2 and that's the only way to do it.
No. I as far as I ruled it was that it was spent as if the active player was spending the fate point.
It's not their bonuses that affect it, it's the fate point. So that's what they get, is the ability
that's what I'm saying is like, but you know how when you use a fate point you can either do a +2 or a reroll. If you're assisting somebody you could only give them the +2, you couldn't give them a reroll.
Yeah, no,
that did to me that mentally didn't really make sense. Like, okay, well obviously if they're going to assist me it's just to get a +2, not a reroll, because they're assisting me. They can't force me to they can't like do a reroll.
Well,
but
a
can
reroll
I?
is just of you attempting it better.
Can he
I guess that's up to Luke.
just give me a reroll? That's what I'm asking.
Oh. For now, I actually kind of like the sort of limiter of you can only apply the bonus, not the reroll.
Okay, so then I would like
I kind of like that wrinkle.
Yeah, I thought to logically to me like that was what my brain.
No, I'm agreeing with you. So
yeah.
Now you also can, if he adds a +2, and then you use one of your fate die or your portent die you just rolled. Like that gets you to a 5.
Yeah, that would put me over. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
it would put you even. So you'd have to succeed with a minor cost.
I still feel like re-rolling would be better in this situation. Just because I got such a bad roll.
I did find the official rules for this situation.
Oh, please. Yeah, let's hear them.
So for what we're trying to do, where Mira's the main actor and we're trying to assist her action, when you stack advantages, each person takes the create an advantage action as usual and gives whatever free invocations they get to a single character. So you would have to have Char roll a separate check to create an advantage, and he would have to describe what type of advantage he is creating to assist Mira's role of mind wiping this guy. And then if he succeeds, it gives a free invoke of the advantage that he has created to Mira, which, as we know, can be used for either the +2 or the reroll. So it's basically the same thing that I said almost. Well,
you have to. It's like.
But there's another different.
I am trying more and more to get away from having too many rolls because I feel like it bogs things down a bit. So for now, I'm just going to say for something like this, you're all just concentrating on microwaving this guy's brain. You can just declare you add them.
Okay, so yes, I would like to use Char's thing for the fate point in order to get the +2, and then I would like to use one of my portent. Can I use both of my portent dice and make it a +1?
If you want to burn them both right now to get to a 6, then yes, you absolutely can.
And then that makes it so that I don't get the minor issue,
you just
right?
straight up succeed.
Okay, cool. Then I'll do that.
Yeah, you just straight up succeed as he's like thrashing around as you're just picking through his brain, seeing like as you're in here, like seeing the dark cloud with the little pinpricks of light that represent his memories, and you're just going through and just snuffing them out. As he just drops back against the wall, like eyes rolled back, and he kind of like looks over, just where the hell am I? Why am I handcuffed?
Okay.
Good time to
Can
knock
you
him out
knock him out?
again.
Yeah, we
What's
need
up?
to make this. We need to render this guy unconscious while we're doing this.
Cole, you're good at doing that. Hit him with the stick.
I guess so.
Actually, I'm gonna take my blaster out, set it to stun, and just stun him.
Oh yeah, there you go. Do that.
I like it. It's like hit him with the stick. It's like
No, I
like,
forgot we had
hit it.
done.
No, I just like the idea of Pitter like hit him with a metal stick, and so you like no, we can. There's like some force ability to knock him out. As Mirrors pulls a gun, shoots him, it just head conks off the back of the thing, goes unconscious.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that does have that setting.
I totally forgot that I had a blaster for a second. Because I'm the one who asked if anybody knew how to knock him out, and then I'm like, oh wait, fuck. Boom.
Oh shit, that's right. This thing has a non-lethal setting.
Real facts. Am I able? Does anybody else want to do the roll to implant the memory? My force alters a 4.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder to do that. 'Cause
Well,
you're
I think
crafting
mine's the
memory
highest,
parts.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, mine's
Honestly,
only a 3.
Mine is also a 3.
0.
Okay, so what's
Uh,
the DC?
The DC for this. If I just if I just raise it by 1 to make it a 6, do you think that feels sufficiently harder, or do I have to make it a 7? I feel like 6 is fine.
I think making it harder is appropriate given how
No. It's just the
strong Mira
degree
is
to
before.
of like it's the degree to of making it either like a 6 or a 7.
I think a 7 is appropriately difficult for as much as we're asking for.
Hell yeah! Then roll me an 8. No, I'm kidding. Roll me a 7. Roll me a 10, which is mathematically impossible.
Alright, I got
Okay.
5.
Big money. I will remind you, if you spend a fate point, you can get another roll of portent dice.
I will use a fate point to get a portent.
Okay, so roll me 4 dice.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm so curious. Okay,
So you got 2
that
minuses.
does give you 2 minuses and a plus.
Okay.
So if you spend another
But
fate point,
remember that, because those minuses you can hang on to for later, like when you get back to town.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use the plus. That brings it to a 6.
Okay.
I am once again willing to offer up my fate points.
Sure. I'll take it.
Did I use one last time? Did you end up having to use mine?
Yes.
All right, so I'm down to 1.
or I could do it this time.
Oh yeah. Let's do it from Cole instead, so that way he has 2.
Sure.
Yeah, you're still lacking resources from your pitch battle earlier.
I know, real facts, right?
What?
No, you gave me an inspiration, which I believe is,
That's
is that
right.
not just 1 fate point?
Yeah, sure. We'll make it an extra fate point. Yes, you have an extra one, so you're actually good.
Okay, cool. So I met it. Wait, no, I beat it. I got an 8.
You beat by 1, yes.
Great. As you go through, and I'm so curious who Mira's master is, to where she would, because there's a short list of Jedi where this would have even come up in conversation with a Padawan. So you and I are gonna have some interesting DMs later.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you go through and just smooth over like them waiting on the cliff, and the minute when he came out to greet all of you is just sort of wipes that out to adds in exploding or what specific. Tell me what the scenario is that he remembers. Like, what does he remember happening?
So he remembers us coming there, everybody fighting. He doesn't remember the lightsabers. He remembers them as like vibroblades, is what we decided.
Yeah. Something.
And then he remembers us dying in that battle.
Dying in the battle, but you managed to take down more of his guys than you would have liked.
Yeah.
So he's taking the speeder back to town to alert Bright Eyes, presumably Bright Eyes, to the
fact that we died.
The fact that we died, but all goons.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's taking the speeder back to town to let him know, hey, shit went sideways, but we got the job done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben cut out for me for a little bit. So from what I heard, I don't know exactly what he said. All I got was that we died and also gooned.
Yes.
We died and also gooned in that order. Oh, I had such a good time. As a side note, I went to a LARP recently where my character is meant to be kind of oblivious, and he was talking to somebody, and they mentioned they were a goon, and like a goon is in like a mook, a henchman, and I was like, yes, you've been gooning a lot recently, and they just kind of bit their lip, and I was like, I mean, I'm sure you're very successful at gooning, and they were like, I take it back, I don't do that, and I'm like, no, there's no shame in it. I mean, listen, some people frown upon it. You know, I wouldn't talk about it as openly if I were you, but I mean, if you want to, if you want to goon all you want, and someone was like, does gooning mean something different now? And they couldn't break immersion to talk about it, but I was just like, I mean, listen, lots of people are into gooning these days. I've done a little bit of gooning myself. I did some gooning this morning before I even arrived here, and they was like, "Please stop." I was like, I did some gooning here. Hey, and there was like, look, even I mean, times have changed. Even women are into gooning these days.
For the old people in the room, what is gooning?
Oh no, you'll have to look it up.
Oh God.
I feel like I'm missing something important.
It's all right.
It's a euphemism for jorking it.
Oh, okay.
How did you not know that?
Aha. How could when I not get? Because I'm old. Hold on, let me turn up my hearing aid.
I think he was talking to Ryan.
Sorry.
Oh.
So from Urban Dictionary, to goon.
Okay, we're doing this now. I'm sorry, everyone, that I brought this upon us.
To goon, to masturbate, but in a particular obsessive or energetic way. In particular, as it refers to edging or repeatedly stimulating oneself to the point of near climax. But the important thing is that it's like in a frantic kind of obsessive way.
And this is why I've marked the stream not for children.
It's educational, Greg.
Ah, yeah.
We're putting the edge in educational.
There we go.
Oh
no.
That's a stream, everybody. Good night. No.
Anyway, but yeah, so you craft that as he just slumps down, and you hear him kind of muttering in his sleep. Just,
we got him.
Got the drop
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
There's they got the drop on us, but I said they got the drop on us. Managed to take out Pulsar, but don't worry, we put him down in the end. Like just muttering, like confirming to himself the details of this story as they process through his brain.
Perfect. Now, while he's still unconscious, we should put him in the other speeder that we're towing.
Push him off to this fucking...
And unhook it.
Yep.
and just let him go.
Well, there you go. Now, see, that's thinking outside the box.
Very, very creative.
I give a flourish of a bow. Thank you, thank you.
We should probably put him a little closer to town because if we leave him sitting here in the speeder, the scorpions will attack him.
Well, at the moment,
that is
you've given him the directive to return to town.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
still has to become conscious again to do that.
He'll wake up in
I
a
don't
moment.
know. Okay. So Pitter goes and moves all the stuff they packed into the spare car, into the main car, so we can move this guy into the spare.
cool. And we get him set up in the spare like he was driving it.
Yes.
Wouldn't
Got
it
the
be
keys
funny if he
in.
woke up in the passenger seat? That would be really funny.
It
Wakes up
would.
in the
No, we don't want to make it look like anything's amiss. We want it to look like he took.
Oh, but it would be really funny.
Yeah, if you really want to freak him out, pull his pants around his ankles.
Yeah, maybe he was gooning.
Pull his pants around his ankles and lean him face down in the back of the trunk.
There you go.
Oh, God.
I need all of you to remember one very seminal thing. This is not a good dude. This is a very bad dude.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at the same time,
But we're not.
Okay. Yeah, you are still good people.
So far.
Ostensibly.
No, just leave a note. Leave his pants around his ankles, bend him over the side of the truck, and leave a note next to him that says, "Thanks for a great time, sweetie," in Huddies.
In hoodies.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Okay. So we leave him and the car's running and we skedaddle. I hope we got all the information we wanted because we didn't ask him how the box is used to give people powers.
Nope.
But I guess we can do that next time. Either to him or Bright Eyes directly, because Bright Eyes would know better, and we're bound to have him in our clutches at some point.
At some point.
If the Imperials don't get him first. Although we have to like break into the Imperials ships or whatever for something else, don't we? We try to
We have to break into the governor's mansion.
That too. But I think there was also, I think we abandoned the plan, but there was a plan at some point to maybe break in to get the remains of the sheriff for more investigating. But like, I think we maybe gave up on that.
Yeah, I don't think we need that anymore.
Okay.
It depends on whether or not you care specifically about what killed him.
I think we have a pretty good idea about who killed him, and that's all that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it was Pulsar at this point, and he doesn't exist anymore, so it's less of a problem.
Your backs.
Oh shoot, we should have asked about that.
Wake him up and then mind wipe him again.
Yeah,
no,
right.
that was hard. We're not doing that again.
It's
As the
Meredith
person who did it.
laying on the floor of the speeder, like, "Hey guys, I know that was really impressive and punk rock and everything, but also."
Peter comes up to Mira,
Please never
pats her, and tells her she did a good job and gives her a piece of candy.
You need some
Hooray.
space orange slices.
And then repeats said process with Shar and Cole as well.
Oh, I like orange.
And then
slices.
doesn't want Kanor to feel left out, so also goes and pats him and tells him he's doing a good job at driving and gives him a piece of candy.
Did anybody hear a dog
Aw,
bark?
thank you.
No, I did not hear a dog bark.
Stop laughing.
Oh,
With the candy, that was the joke.
Oh,
okay.
anyway.
So let's get back to town, get back to Doc, have him patch up Dorian, and get the fuck out of here.
And I'm realizing how incredibly funny it is now that the small furry creature is training its humanoids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's so funny.
Thank you, Peter.
Just one arm behind Pitter's back, low-key just rings a bell. Get Pavloved, bitch.
Ugh.
Well, it is. What is it? 10 o'clock over there?
It is
Yeah.
10:16.
I am ready for bed, peoples.
I think this is a good as
Uh,
any place to end it.
Yeah, us getting back into town seems like a good place to end it for the night.
Right on.
We did get back to town, right? That's where we just ended.
You're like driving back over the border of the town.
All right, good.
Yeah, and then we can wake up, and then we can pick up next time with seeing what the resolution of all this is. Will our triumphant heroes manage to rescue or manage to save the day and liberate the town? Will they decide to do pitch battle with Bright Eyes? Are they mistaken and they're about to murder an innocent lawmaker who's just trying his best?
Well, we definitely are not going to shoot first.
No, we're not gonna just.
No, I
shoot
know.
the
I'm just
guy.
no, I get you. It's like, who can possibly say? Will they even manage to talk to him this session? Who
Yeah,
knows?
that's a valid question.
This
No,
session
we're going to
probably.
give him.
Maybe.
Oh,
We're
no,
going to give
or
him a wide berth for the next couple of days.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, 'cause
man.
these
First of
people
all,
are
about
dead.
booming,
We
now
use that
birth.
for advantage.
Wait, what advantage?
They walked away.
Okay.
Dead. We need to use that to our advantage.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Correctamundo. But yes. Anyway, we will find out the answers to these questions and many more next time on Star Wars Manifest.
Hooray!
Yippee!